Hey all, welcome back to the neighborhood. It's your friendly neighborhood reviewer with InToIt Reviews. Let's talk about the Teak. This is one of the best values in headphones, hands down. I've already covered the Emu Purple Hearts and the history of that company in that video, so I'll refrain from doing that here. So if you're interested in Emu as a company, go ahead and check out that video as well. I'll place a link in the description down below. But for now, the Teaks. Let's get into it. The Teak is a circumoral, closed-back design and a variant of the Foster 443742 driver, and in the same family as the more famous Fostex TH900 series. It is composed of a 50mm neodymium magnet biocellulose diaphragm, and there have been numerous different implementations of this design over the years. Some of the best have included the Denon AHD 5000, the Fostex TH610, the Mastrop TRX00 series, and the Fostex TH900 MK2s. But out of all of them, the Teak reigns supreme in my opinion. Why? Well, all of these are V-shaped headphones, but the Teak appears slightly more U-shaped than V-shaped to my ears, meaning there is less of a reduction in the mid-range in the Teak than in any of the other brother and sister headphones of this variety. I would describe the mid-range as soft, articulate, and purposeful, despite being somewhat limited in presence. Additionally, the Teak has the best overall tonality or timbre compared to its brethren. The Teak is a very musical headphone overall. Tile from Inner Fidelity called the sounds of the Teak liquid goodness, and I'd have to say that I agree. While it is very slightly rolled off up top, the treble that is there is well extended enough, energetic, and softly detailed. Inconsistently, Tile also called the treble hot, and while I hear why he would do so, because it can be rather lively in presentation at times, I would also argue that the treble has a touch of honey to it, remaining pleasurable to one's ears despite being slightly pushed forward in the mix. In the end, the Teak retains an astounding and significant amount of treble detail for this driver model in particular, and it delivers said detail to the listener in a very pleasing and relaxing manner. In contrast, tunings of other headphones which use this driver have come across as sharp, fatiguing, or ear-piercing, but the Teak never does. Female singers tend to be more forward and emphasized than male vocals, which are often more laid back in their presentation and significantly less prominent in the mix with the Teak. Dynamics on this can are excellent, and the bass is very punchy and percussive, with more of a mid-bass emphasis to it. While the sub-bass is most definitely present, it does tend to trail off the deeper it goes into the lower registry, yet it still retains good texture, detail, and punchiness to the bass. I will note that there is a mild bloom from the mid-bass, which does lend itself to some mild sloppiness, but like I said, this is a musical headphone. Soundstage is wide and deep for a closed-back can, and imaging is good, but separation is only adequate and not stellar, resulting in some mild imprecision in the sonic picture at times on complex tracks. Nevertheless, sonics are well represented within space in terms of both their location and distinctiveness. Decay is neither too quick nor too slow, and transients are relatively good and appropriate, without either offense or particular note. Having said that, there is a certain sophisticated featheriness to the Teak's overall quality, which is both alluring and endearing. Furthermore, peripheral details are quite excellent and impressive. I would use the term musical rather than analytical to describe this can, but it is also analytical enough to be enjoyed by that crowd as well. The Emu Teak is also incredibly easy to drive. This is both a blessing and a curse. It is a blessing in the sense that it can be powered well and produce good sonics from most sources. However, it is a curse in that it is somewhat susceptible to a mild noise from some sources with higher output impedance. Listed impedance and sensitivity specs are 25 ohms and 106 dB respectively. My favorite amplifier pairings with the Emu Teak are the Gold Note DS10 and the THX AAA 789. The Gold Note DS10 offers enhanced honey tones, feathery details, a larger and more expansive background, and increased harmonic richness amongst the overall presentation. The AAA 789 offered a sharper presentation that was somewhat more boxed in comparison to the Gold Note. I was able to power the Teaks quite easily off of the first gain stage with no need to switch to the secondary one, but one might still prefer to do so in order to obtain slightly lusher sonics. But before we end, let's talk about the build, as there are some issues with it. First and foremost, the wooden cups are beautiful and well crafted, but only lacquered on the outside and not the inside of the cup. Some people have asked, and I'm ultimately unsure of the reason for this, but I suspect that it has something to do with the resonance of the wood and the sonics of the headphone itself. My understanding is that the only way that one can obtain the Teak wood cups is to order them with the Emu Teak headphones themselves. Having said that, the Emu Teak does offer a variety of additional, or if one prefers, alternative cup options, such as ebony, rosewood, and bamboo cup finishes. Between the ebony, rosewood, and teak, it is well documented that the teak cups will be preferred by most. However, Emu has sent over the bamboo cups to me for an additional future review. So stay tuned for a future follow-up to this review regarding the bamboo cup variant as well. There's also two versions of the headphone from a cabling and pad perspective. The version I went with has an attached 1.5 meter wire and includes sheepskin pads, whereas an alternative variant includes protein leather pads and a detachable cable with 2.5 millimeter connectors, which extrude from the ear cups. Regarding the latter, I prefer the fit and sonics of the sheepskin pads to the protein pads, and it is my understanding that the 2.5mm connectors can become a common failure point for this device. Further research has also suggested that no matter the variant, the swivel point socket where the metal yokes attach to the headband is another common failure point, potentially snapping at this junction with overuse. The headband itself is wrapped in a nice leatherette material which encases dual metal rotted left and right extension adjustments, which click securely into place. The clamp of the headband is neither too forceful nor too loose for my head, and the pads rest softly, mostly surrounding one's ears, forming a good seal. One thing to note regarding the fit is that the opening of the ear pads is a unique smaller D shape, and the helix of my pinna appears to slide into the pad rather than being surrounded by it. Furthermore, the lower lobe of my ears does not make it into the pad at all, and the bottom leather of the pad rests gently on top of them. Nevertheless, the ear cups feel like soft pillows on your ears, the headband disperses the headphone's weight generally well, and I find the Teak supremely comfortable to wear for long listening sessions. With specific regard to the attached cable edition, the 1.5 meter cable is attached to the ear cups with rubberized stress relief that travels downwards towards a soft touch plastic Y-split and then terminates in a 3.5mm TRS jack with a screw-on 1/4 inch connector. It is heavy duty, thick, and surrounded by a fabric material, looking like a bungee cord to an outside observer. While I would have preferred a balanced termination and a longer 2-meter cable for desktop use, the 1.5 meter single-ended cable is ultimately long enough for me, and a good compromise considering some people may attempt to choose to use their Teaks in a portable listening scenario. Having said that, I really would not recommend traveling with these, as their build is a rather fragile one in my opinion. So in the end, do I ultimately recommend the Teaks? I do. Absolutely, without a doubt, or any reservation really. Despite its build quality, which may be somewhat suspect, the Teaks offer a phenomenal acoustic presentation. They are detailed, delicate, articulate, and supremely bassy with enough mid-range presence and resolution to satisfy most listeners. These are a fabulous, beautiful-looking closed-back option to consider, irregardless of price, as they are sonically competent enough to rival much more expensive competition. And just a reminder, guys, at the 1,000 subscriber mark, I'll be giving away another set of COS KSC 75s. So make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell to get alerted to future content from me. Also check out the blog, Twitter, Instagram, the Discord, and or become a patron. The Patreon is only $1.50 a month, and it will get you access to early written blog reviews once the channel has over 1.1k subscribers. And with that, I'm out for now.